Welcome everyone. Come on in and let's talk about this. This is LanceScurv, your host on the Scurv podcast. This title is Toxic Behavior, the New Normal. Why so many people feel angry, cold, and disconnected. We got a really bad storm going on out there, so you might hear it, but the show must go on. Anyway, if you look at this banner, I want to explain it. This is a beauty parlor, right? And all of the women, except the one in the forefront, work there. And you can see the hateful look on their faces because this woman is considered beautiful. Now, all women, to me, can be beautiful, but it's their demeanor that makes a big difference, their attitude that makes a big difference. Now we know we have these standards of beauty that determine if a person can be a model or not. I don't really care about that. A woman can be beautiful if she has no venom. And this is not just about women. This was the illustration because I had an old girlfriend years ago that worked in a beauty parlor, and I well know the drama that can go in between them who work there and the customers that come through. Talk about gossip. Beauty parlors are the gossip centers and capitals of the entire community. Worse than the church parking lot after service. Anyway, let's get into this. I do want your feedback, and I want to thank you all for the comments that you're leaving on the videos, and I'm just having a ball doing these. I really am. But anyway, think for a moment. Imagine waking up every day with an invisible weight on your chest. You scroll through your phone. You go to work. You respond to messages. You interact with people. Yet something feels off. Conversations feel colder. People seem more defensive, more irritated, even more distant. Something has shifted. Now imagine this is not just your imagination, like the song, just my imagination running away with me. What if this is a pattern repeating across the world? What if modern society is not only failing to heal emotional wounds, but actively creating more toxic personalities than ever before? And I believe so. This is not about blaming individuals. It's about understanding deeper forces. Forces that shape behavior. Forces that distort emotions. Forces that quietly influence how people treat themselves and others. Before we go further, we must redefine what toxic behavior really means. Toxicity is not just being rude or selfish. At its core, toxic behavior is often a survival strategy. It grows from fear, trauma, emotional neglect, and social pressure. If you stay with me through this reflection, you may begin to see modern life, relationships, and even yourself in a completely new way. Toxic behavior is often misunderstood. Many assume toxic people are simply bad people, but in many cases, toxic behavior is learned protection. When emotional needs are ignored for too long, they do not disappear. They change form. They come back as anger, control, jealousy, emotional numbness, or constant defensiveness. Modern society teaches productivity, success, and independence. It rarely teaches emotional awareness. We are told to move fast, stay positive, and keep achieving. We are not taught how to process pain. We are not taught how to sit with discomfort. When emotions are pushed down instead of understood, they build pressure. Over time, that pressure leaks out into daily interactions. Conversations become competitions. Relationships become transactions. Listening becomes rare. Social media adds fuel to this fire. It rewards outrage. It rewards comparison. It rewards performance. Instead of seeing people as human beings, many people begin to see others as competition or validation. When worth becomes tied to status, income, appearance, or approval, egos become fragile. Fragile egos react strongly to criticism. They react strongly to difference. This is one reason why small disagreements now turn into major conflicts. Modern life keeps the nervous system on edge. Financial pressure, information overload, constant notifications, fear of falling behind. Many people live in a constant state of stress. When the brain stays in survival mode too long, empathy decreases, patience decreases, impulse increases. In simple terms, stressed people are more likely to act toxic, not because they're evil, but because they're overwhelmed. Ask yourself honestly, how many people today feel truly safe? How many feel truly heard or understood? When safety is missing, control replaces trust. Manipulation replaces honesty. Emotional withdrawal replaces vulnerability. Toxic behavior often hides a deep feeling of powerlessness. When people feel small inside, they may try to dominate others to feel strong again. I know a few people like that. When they feel unseen, they may become loud or aggressive to be noticed. These are not random reactions. They are coping mechanisms. From a young age, many people learn that love is conditional. Good grades earn praise. Success earns approval. Appearance earns attention. Being impressive feels safer than being authentic. But over time, people create a mask, a version of themselves that is strong, impressive, and protected. Beneath that mask may be fear, shame, or insecurity. As adults, many no longer know who they are without that mask. When someone challenges them, it feels like a threat to their identity. This is when defensiveness, coldness, or aggression can appear. Trauma does not always mean extreme events. It can be emotional neglect. It can be constant criticism. It can be growing up in a home where feelings were ignored or punished. I know a few of those too. Those experiences shape perception. Neutral situations can feel like threats. When old wounds are not healed, they show up in present relationships. A simple disagreement can feel like deep rejection. A small mistake can feel like humiliation. Modern culture often rewards emotional hardness. Assertiveness without empathy is praised as leadership. Detachment is praised as strength. Ruthlessness is praised as ambition. But armor has a cost. Armor protects, but it also blocks connection. The more emotional walls we build, the more isolated we become. Isolation then feeds resentment. Resentment feeds more toxic behavior. Over time, toxicity can shift from behavior to identity. Instead of saying I reacted badly, people begin to think, this is just who I am. Cold, distant, harsh, untouchable. This belief feels powerful in the short term. It creates distance. It creates control. But in the long term, It destroys intimacy and trust. Many adults were never taught emotional literacy. They were never taught how to name feelings or regulate them. Anger becomes easier than sadness. Control feels safer than vulnerability. So anger becomes the default language in their lives. Here's the most important insight of all. Toxicity does not end by fighting toxic people. It ends when individuals take responsibility for their inner world. Modern society teaches blame. Blame the system. Blame the past. Blame other people. While these factors influence behavior, they do not remove personal responsibility. The opposite of toxicity is not niceness. It is consciousness. Consciousness is the ability to pause before reacting. It's the ability to feel pain without immediately passing it on. It is choosing response over impulse. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is choice. In that choice is growth. When people learn to observe their emotions instead of being controlled by them, cycles begin to break. When they process pain instead of projecting it, relationships begin to heal. Modern society may continue to produce stress, noise, and pressure, but it does not get to decide who you become. That decision happens internally, moment by moment. When enough individuals choose awareness over reaction, responsibility over blame, and meaning over ego, culture begins to shift. This is the quiet revolution. It does not trend, it does not go viral, but it is powerful. If this reflection made you uncomfortable, then it may be a sign it touched something real. Growth rarely feels comfortable at first. Awareness can sting before it heals. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Each time you pause instead of react, you weaken toxic patterns. Each time you choose honesty over defensiveness, you strengthen your character. You cannot control society's speed. You cannot control other people's wounds, but you can control how you respond. That's the real power. Modern life may be loud and chaotic at times, but clarity begins within. The more conscious you become, the less reactive you are. The less reactive you are, the more stable your relationships become. A conscious person in an unconscious society may feel rare, but rarity is not weakness, it's strength. I've had to deal with many people in my life, and I'm quite sure you have too, where your inner peace triggers them. Your stability triggers them. Your lack of extreme fear triggers these people who walk in fear but pretend to be strong. See, when you work on yourself on the inside, you don't have to pretend to be anything. You are the thing because you've worked on yourself. You don't have to pretend. You're the real thing. And we have so many people these days that are influenced by the trend of society to pretend to be the real thing instead of actually taking the time to clean house internally to become the real thing. When you look at people in the present, overall, just an overview, and you go back many decades, and the longer you've lived on this earth, my words will ring true with you. Okay, I was born in 1963. I remember the late 60s, how people carried themselves. I remember the 70s, the 80s. And I remember that you had older folks that carried themselves a certain way, and they had a certain character. They had a certain presence about themselves. It wasn't a facade. It wasn't all show. Them sitting there, being still. Maybe it was in a barbershop. Maybe it was in a restaurant. They're eating to themselves. But you felt a power and an energy from these individuals. Now, I'm not trying to say they don't exist, because I personally know individuals in my age group that have that power, that have that knowledge, that have that connectedness with peace internally. And they don't have to put on airs for anybody. They don't have to try to impress anybody. They don't have to throw off on anybody and try to prove how much money they have, or try to prove how much influence they have, or try to prove that wherever they go, they're well known and well liked. You can have people who have money, who have status and fame, and who are well liked. But now it just seems to be something plastic and not authentic and just paper thin. And to me, I can feel that in society overall. So when you are the real thing, you will have people, like in this illustration of this beautiful young lady, right? Look at the women behind her. They're mean mugging her. They don't like her. So it's not even just the way this girl looks. And I say girl because she's way younger than me. But it's the confidence that she has and the presence that she has. And these other women can't figure it out. And I'm quite sure if they were to take time and clean out the toxicity that they have in themselves without doing anything to themselves physically or makeup or hairstyles, that immediately you'll feel something different. Immediately, the beauty that they possess that's dormant will come through. And remember, this also goes for men also. I just chose to put a banner up with women. Those principles go between both sexes. But yes, to answer my own question, toxic behavior has become the new normal. Yes, and it's worse than ever before. And as superficial as this society gets through social media and validation seeking and comparison, it's just gonna get worse. And it's gonna clog up the system and senses of many people out here, and it will not extract the goodness and the good feelings and the good connections in life, because they're so clogged up with this toxicity inside of them that they're going to go through life starved for the basic things that all human beings need: love, connectedness, community. And so we'll be walking around separate, angry at each other, and hungry for something that we'll never admit that we need. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I have a few more to do today. It's been a pleasure as always. Go to LanceScurvX.com and sign up with your email address. You get everything that you get here, plus the things that I'm not allowed to put on other social media platforms. That's the good juicy stuff. Anyway, I'm on to the next one. LanceScurv out. I love you all. Peace.